Welcome everybody to the Genesis Mindset. In today's episode, has Richard Hart been spotted in Hollywood? So there was a news story on, I believe it was CBS, and I think Richard Hart's been spotted in Hollywood. So I'm going to show you the video clip there, and then continuing with the Atropa Genesis setup. And I'm thinking maybe from today's exploration, monay and CROWS might be an interesting play in the future. So those were the two standouts of today. And obviously, the other interesting thing with today was the liquidity jumped up a lot more. So we'll go into that in just a minute. So first of all, major news event. So this is a joke, everybody. So just relax yourself. It's funny. It's a meme. So let's have a watch of this.
Meanwhile, a man is now in custody after climbing on top of a Hollywood sign. Newsdropper 4's Derek Bell saw it all unfold from above. The man was up there for about an hour until about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Our ground crew saw park rangers, the LAPD, and the LAFD.
Trying to cool him down. He's holding a sign, or I should say a flag right now, touting a social media address.
Meanwhile, a man is now in custody after a climb.
Pretty cute, right? Pretty cute. Definitely got a lol out of me. So, yeah. So continuing on with the Atropa ecosystem. So, yeah, the Atropa ecosystem. What a fascinating thing. I mean, I've literally been investigating and studying this thing for, oh boy, almost a year and a half now. And I actually have, I have a family friend. I'd go to his house, his family's house all the time as a kid. They'd come to my house as a kid. And on New Year's Day, we would always go to his house, or Christmas Eve, or New Year's Day, or New Year's Eve, one of the two, I can't remember. We'd always go to his house and his family was there. And he's one of the only trolls on my channel. And he thinks I've completely lost the plot. And I've tried to explain to him that I understand his perspective, that I understand that this is all extremely risky and that it's a Ponzi and a pyramid. But I also believe that everything in the world, every financial asset is a Ponzi and a pyramid, and the capitalistic system is basically reached its limit, and it's all being funded by printed money. And so everything's just a Ponzi and a scam and a pyramid scheme. And he messaged my dad yesterday, and it was it's been a challenge. I'll say that much. It's been a challenge because it really stressed out my dad. He messaged my dad saying, oh, you know, Stephen is on YouTube. He's in a cult and he's talking about all this cult cryptocurrency stuff. His mind's like really like a cult. And then my dad called me up all worried and concerned. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe he's gone to these links. And it's like, oh, all right. If Murad's thesis is correct, and if Sami's thesis is correct that you have to be in a cult, then ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the Atropa ecosystem, then you are in the best cult. But energetically speaking, even though I've tried to be very rational and reasoned with him, there's this huge glob of mind in my stomach. So whenever I talk to him, there's like this tension in my digestive system. So the energy blockage there is reciprocated by his energy blockage, and my words do not even enter into his mind. I try to accept his perspective and listen to his perspective and share why I agree or disagree, but the words that I say don't even register in his brain. So I'm really just talking to just dead energy. And so it's really quite frustrating. So the results will end up doing the talking. That's what I believe. And I don't believe that, I mean, okay, yeah, this is a cult. This is the greatest cult in all of cryptocurrency. And so, yeah, I'm happy to be in this cult, to be perfectly honest. Everything in my life is considered to be a cult. So I have no issues with that whatsoever. But I just thought, wow, this is really like, this is some next level stuff. So in any case, with the Atropa Genesis cult, last episode that I did do this, I think I covered perhaps maybe around about these kind of tokens, and there was no real liquidity in them. And apparently, it was Dan. Dan ended up. I asked if anyone knew anything about it and why perhaps maybe there was no liquidity in this issue during this period. And interestingly enough, Dan said that because I was talking about the CIA token, which didn't have any liquidity. Unlike all the other tokens, the liquidity in this was added late in the month. Everything else you would normally get like liquidity on the launch. And he said that the CIA was created with a few weeks gap between liquidity being added, as it was around the time when all Maria tokens were being FOMO'd at launch. And it caused him a lot of stress. So I think this was done as a tactical move. So during this period, so this is probably why there was not a lot of liquidity in these things, because Maria's tokens, well, Maria's ecosystem was getting heavily flooded at that time. So there you go. And so basically from this moment, so I've started investigating now from here, and the liquidity is really thick in the system. So it's quite interesting that during this period, everything was kind of really quite dead, and being heavily FOMO'd, and we had the CIA token. So very interesting. So anyway, so today, this particular token, let's get into it. So I'm not going to take too long going through this. Actually, before I get started though, I'll just have a look at some of these questions. What's your opinion about ETH pump and pulse chain pump? When you think it will start the bull run? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we're already in the bull run later on. I mean, of course, it's going to be great for Ethereum to pump, which is going to flow into Pulse Chain. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're in the Atropa ecosystem, everything's been up really. So I guess it really depends where you bought. So what's going on, Cookie? What's going on, Puffy? What's going on, Matt? Sorry to hear about the family drama. Thanks for sharing. There isn't any changing people's minds. It didn't get me down. It got me angry, to be perfectly honest, that it stressed out my dad. That's what got to me, to be perfectly honest. I can deal with it, but I don't want that spilling out into stressing my dad out. He doesn't need that. So he's got a good life. It's not like the stress is going to do him a lot of harm, but I still just thought it was way out of line. And he's blocked me on all social media platforms. I can't even talk to him, so he trolls me on my YouTube, and then to go and message my dad, it's just like, and I've asked my brothers, and my brothers think he's got a few screws loose. So yep, if you're listening to this, Michael, you know who you are. Please don't ever do that again. That was a disgrace, Michael. That was an absolute disgrace. If you want to discuss this like men, you can always keep messaging me. You can unblock me. Don't ever do that with my dad ever again, particularly because you criticize me for bringing family members into this. So that was really a disgusting thing that you did. So anyway, let's get on with it. So Razor 911, never spotted that before. I'm sure they are a game piracy group. Razor 911, where's that? I think so, actually. Yeah, I think so. I think if you like Wikipedia Razor 1911, I think maybe it's probably is, to be perfectly honest. It definitely does sound like what are those like the things that used to get the cracks when you'd play like video games in the olden days, and you'd get the cracks and you'd install the cracks. So Razor 1911 definitely sounded very much like that. So yeah, interesting. Saturday Night Live, Acid Productions, interesting. All right, okay, so now I'm just going to whisk through this because I'm now, like, I think now we've gotten the idea that a lot of things are basically opposing each other, down against each other, up against each other, sideways against each other. I think we've really grasped this idea. So now just kind of like skimming through these and finding any interesting things. So like I've mentioned in previous videos, it's almost like everything was really established in those first 30 tokens. And then after that, it's just like layering into the ecosystem. So it's like the first 30 was setting up the ecosystem. Now it's just building and layering. So one of the most interesting things that I saw from this was the relationship of CROWS and monay money with everything. So CROWS and monay money to basically everything, well, certainly with the big liquidity pools, was down and to the right. So basically monay money and CROWS, both of them, like essentially were used to like dump into all of these tokens. So against every single one of these tokens, it's down and to the right. So monay money is weak. CROWS is weak against all of these. So some of these other, I'll show you more closely here. So obviously, I found this to be quite interesting. So Teddy Bear, I was quite interested that it's going sideways against Teddy Bear. And so was CROWS. So CROWS and Monay Money are basically going like sideways against Teddy Bear, which is quite interesting. Look at this chart. It's actually quite a lovely chart against Teddy Bear. But then against the others, it's really going down and to the right. So these, yeah, I guess just, yep, some of the unique charts. And then I wanted to just show this one. So this was CROWS and Monay Money side by side. And then this is Monay Money with Teddy Bear and CROWS with Monay Money. I wanted to see if there was any relationship between these where perhaps if this was inversely related, for example, like maybe if it ended up being where one was going up and the other one was going slightly down and there was like an inverse relationship, but they pretty much just seem to be basically identical. So they're just, I suppose, really, they're just getting moved around with and against Teddy Bear. So Teddy Bear is the dominant pair there. What this actually made me think of as I was setting all this up is, okay, well, in the past, I'd look at this and go, okay, well, these are shit tokens. They're dead tokens. There's really not much to be said for them. So there's not much point looking at them. But then I thought this was quite interesting as well. I had to look into this. So what I ended up doing is I thought, okay, well, if they're all down and to the right tokens, could it be that eventually there's going to be some kind of a relationship in the bear market? So I've spoken about bear market hedges within the Atropa ecosystem. So we've identified down to Atropa as a bear market hedge. TSFI also is a potential bear market hedge. But then when you look at these, could these be a bear market hedge? Because they're going down and to the right. So therefore, against all of these assets in the bear market, for example, could Atropa flow into CROWS? Could Teddy Bear flow into CROWS? Could DAI flow into CROWS? So on and so forth. So that's how I'm kind of thinking about them. So they are a multiplier. They will have utility in dysnomia. You need 25 CROWS to access. Yes, that's a really good point, Zone. Yes, correct. I do recall that in the chat log at some point. Mindfulness shared that with me a long time ago. Correct. Yes, and I think Monay Money is going to be important in dysnomia as well. When you say they're a multiplier, though, what can you elaborate on that? Are you saying they're Monay Money and CROWS are a multiplier on Teddy Bear, or a multiplier on what specifically? So because when I think of multiplier, I think of something like hex to hot X. So I think maybe my understanding of multiplier is probably, it's a little bit askew. Sometimes it's like, oh, now I really get it. And sometimes it's like, no, I don't really get it. So yeah, if you could elaborate on that. But in any case, I just thought that was probably the most interesting thing out of those little groups of tokens that, yeah, like against all these tokens, maybe they could be bear market hedges. So, so for example, Atropa is a multiplier for DAI. Yeah, sure. Multiplier as in the liquidity from that flows into, because obviously Atropa flows into DAI, and then down flows into Atropa. But how does that make it a multiplier though? It's still a word that's still not clear in my mind. So but yeah, even though they are part of the game and they might just end up being like this, I just keep in my mind open that they could be a potential bear market hedge. And I was just looking into this and, okay, what do we got here? What kind of big assets are they paired against? So obviously the biggest ones here is Wrapped Bitcoin. So this is Monay Money, Wrapped Bitcoin and CROWS, PTGC, DAI. And then with CROWS, obviously Monay Money. And then this one here, this is Theta. And then, okay, so then Theta is a big pool. So then I looked into Theta, and then Theta has down and TSFI, reasonably big pools with down and TSFI. So I thought, okay, well, yeah, maybe somehow Theta, this cluster of tokens, becomes like a bear market hedge. And then this got me all confused. I was like, what? It's this ticker. How does this actually make any sense? And then, yeah, I think this is actually one of the new. I think this is one of the new tokens that Maria's launched just recently. So that's why it's like that. That was like the first time that I ever saw that. Yes, that was Theta. So Because long term, the Atropa will go higher in ratio than DI. Down will go higher than Atropa. That's how LPs are set up. Yeah, I still don't really get it. But long term, so 7 to 1 Atropa to DI, but long term ratio will be 10 to 1. Okay, I kind of get that, but I don't get it with down. Because, yeah, I don't really fully understand what the setup is with down. Because at the moment, they're inversely correlated, down and Atropa. So when Atropa is going up, down is going down. When down is going up, Atropa is going down. So I guess maybe in the long term it'll be different. And yeah, I just always understood that down was going to possibly be like a take profit in the bear market. That's certainly what Maria said in Amsterdam. So yeah, but thank you for explaining that. So 7 to 1 Atropa to Pt I, but long term ratio will be 10 to 1, then 15 to 1. Okay. So over time, the ratio is going to get dragged. It's just going to keep, well, basically, it's going to just keep extending out up and to the right. So let's say it's 7 to 1, then it's eventually going to be 10 to 1, and then eventually 15 to 1. So it's just going to keep like outgrowing it. I can understand that quite clearly with Atropa and Pt I, because if the narrative of Pt I to a peg, but then I guess it's just the same with all the others, but somehow the math is worked out. So so therefore, CROWS and monay money, what are you saying they're a multiplier on, just out of curiosity? What are they a multiplier on? So, but yes, thank you for bringing that up, by the way, that CROWS and monay money are important for dysnomia, the dysnomia game. So I had forgotten about that. So I appreciate that. Anyway, I'm going to start just closing up some of these charts so I can move on to the next section. But to be honest, the next section didn't really have a great deal that was going on in it. Yeah, this was a decent little. I don't really know what that token is, but yeah, anything with Teddy Bear 9, I think Teddy Bear 9's like pretty cool. It's got the wow factor with Teddy Bear 9. I just love the symbol for it. So, all right. Is it correct to say that if Pt I is going to $1, 100x from here, Atropa is also going 100x? That puts it between $6 and $7. It is correct to say that, yes. That's well, certainly according to Maria Rahel's projections. So this was not a lot, but yeah, not a lot to be said about any of this, to be perfectly honest. I thought this was interesting, that this TIE token is down against a lot of things, but then it's up against Teddy Bear, which I thought is quite interesting, because Teddy Bear usually is like the dominant token. But obviously, again, it's all about the proportions and the ratios of the bonding. I really need to figure out what that math is. I still need to figure out what that math is of like how much of your token percentage, if you put into a liquidity pool with token percentage of that token, how much. So let's say this is 50% of this token and then only 10% of Teddy Bear. How much does that impact the movement of each of the tokens against each other? I don't know if anyone knows that math or has seen it anywhere, but it's definitely something that I haven't really worked out. So I mean, yeah, this is what sucks. But obviously, there's really not a lot of volume flowing through these. So these things, a lot of these tokens are really just like liquidity buffers, or like things to leverage liquidity against. So yeah, going through all the charts, nothing really out of the ordinary, except for, yes, Teddy Bear 9, give us that 33, baby. Yeah, there was nothing in these. These are all just like kind of what charts. Maybe there's something to notice, but I've not really noticed it. But yeah, these to me just, again, they're just friction points to provide tension within the system to create opportunities for arbitrage. So arbitrage bots to fill up and move and adjust things. The more pools that there are, the more arbitrage there is, the more volume there is throughout the Atropa ecosystem. So yeah, for me today, Not a lot. So obviously, I mean, it was a lot in the sense that covered quite a few tokens, but not a lot really was revealed. So then I'm starting to wonder. I mean, this was, where am I up to now? I mean, geez, I'm up to like token. I think I got up to this one, token 64. Oh, hey, that's my birthday. That's the end of my birthday. All right. I'm almost thinking like maybe that's enough. Like, how much more of this do I need to go through where it's going to show the same kinds of things? Maybe I might just, instead of going through each one and loading them all up, maybe now in the future Atropa Genesis, I might just skim through these and see if I can find anything worth talking about, because now it's almost like I feel like I've covered everything. Obviously, as you go through, there's, I mean, this is an interesting one. The 10, what could this be? Because, you've got this, you had the 7, 8, 9 over here. Then you've got a 10 down here. So maybe just seeing what that is. That might be an interesting one. This is where the system starts to take an interesting turn with the YouTube tokens. So yeah, I think, and then obviously the 666 tokens perhaps is worth kind of mentioning, but yeah, I don't know if it's worth going through every single token. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. So yeah, I'm almost thinking, from the future, I might just skim through and see if there's anything worth mentioning. But yeah, with Monay, Money, and CROWS, they were to me the most interesting ones. So I'll definitely be keeping my eyes on the Monay, Money, and CROWS when it comes towards the end of or when it's getting close to the end of the bull market. If I see something where, for example, we're getting towards the end of a bull market, and here, what's a token like? Let's just use Atropa, for example. So I've hypothesized that the Atropa will flow into down, because I still think that there's probably going to be a big dip in Atropa. Maybe in the long run, it'll end up breaking the $7.50, going to 10 for the next bull market, then maybe 15, who knows, whatever. But if we end up seeing like, all of a sudden there's like a big drop in Atropa, and then you see like a big wick in a lot of these, then it's like, okay, that might be an interesting play where you can flow your liquidity from your Atropa profits into here, and then you can get a good that's how I kind of considered the multiplier effect, where I'd be like, let's just say, end of the bull market, Atropa and DAI pegs to $1, so this is $1, and Atropa is $7.50, so $7.50. Well, I'll just put 7 actually, but so 7, and then Pt I is 1. And then we're heading towards the end of the bull market. Do you then take this value and go, all right, I'm going to, let's say you've got, 100 of these. So you got 700. So then would you convert that? Would you put that $700 straight into the DAI stablecoin, and then you've got 700? Or would you swap it into something like this, and then you get, like whatever, like let's just say this comes all the way back up to here, for example, that's like a 10x. So I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but these are the signs and the clues that I want to be looking for when we get to that point in time. Because, for example, then if this ends up doing like a 10x here, then your $700 will turn into 7,000, and then this will also have a liquidity pool with DAI stablecoin, Pt I, that instead of 700, then you have 7,000, which then you can put into P stables. Those are the little plays that I want to be looking for. Those are the little clues that I want to be finding. And it's going to be really interesting to see what I end up doing and how I end up talking about it when it comes to the end of the bear market, because I don't know. I really don't know what I'll do, because obviously, I mean, there's going to be people who are probably not going to want me to talk about these sorts of things, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll just going to keep it short, very short today, less than half an hour. It doesn't have to always be so long. So let's just see what's going on, Jesu. I did end up making that extra LP, which was, nice, man. Wrapped Bitcoin and Pt I. I mean, I think if you believe in the PRC narrative, the pegging narrative, I mean, I think it's a great play. I mean, if we end up having a decentralized stablecoin here, I would also imagine that we're really going to try and boast about our Bitcoin as well, our decentralized Bitcoin, which in some ways is going to be better than their Bitcoin because it doesn't need mining and it doesn't destroy the environment. So regardless, it's going to be a Bitcoin that's going to be arbitraged against from outside of the ecosystem with the Ethereum wrapped Bitcoin, which also is going to be arbitraged against from the real Bitcoin. So I think the wrapped Bitcoin, the pulse wrapped Bitcoin is like I think it's going to be a good volume generator, put it that way. So it might just be something that you just leave it. But then obviously, see, I look at my LPs as like, I look at some LPs as like, I'm just going to leave it in there for a long, long time, like 1, 2, 3 cycles, whatever. Like I don't anticipate taking it out. So, but if you do anticipate taking it out and wanting to take profits, then you'd probably want to be keeping an eye on the wrapped Bitcoin or the pulse wrapped Bitcoin, because obviously if we do get to the end of the bull market, the Pt I, let's say it pegs at $1, then the pulse wrapped Bitcoin, if it's somehow like correlated with the real Bitcoin price, then it can have a dump. So then you're then going to get the impermanent loss. But obviously you're also going to get, if you do that, you're going to get a lot of liquidity flowing into you'll end up scooping up a lot of people's dumped wrapped Bitcoin as well. So if you're like, okay, well, I'm happy with this liquidity providing position and I want to accumulate more of these, then it might not be such a bad idea. So also did Atropa and wrapped Bitcoin, which I hadn't done before. Hope it's okay. My share of the pool was very high. This made me think maybe I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, I mean, as long as you looked at we can do that again, actually. We'll do that again. So what is it? Atropa. All right, let's shoot. I just wouldn't mind having a look at that as well, I guess. Good morning, Todd. What's up, Hexologist Heart? And earn interest after the bull. All right, let's have a look. See here. Hey, connect wallet. Hang on a second. Let's do this. Wallet should be connected, but it's going to be a cheeky dog. Oh. All right. What do we got? So we want to go to first. I just want to get the tokens. Oh, actually, I don't want to. All right, so Atropa and then wrapped Bitcoin. Here we go. I mean, oops. Okay, so let's just bring that up. So Atropa and wrapped Bitcoin. Atropa. Wrapped Bitcoin. Oh, what's going on here? Oi, what's going on here? What are you doing? What? Why are you doing that? It's like deleting itself. What the It's like a ghost on my keyboard. The fuck's going on here? Yeah. All right. So, wow, interesting. So, liquidity, it's probably not a very good one. Just based on the volume. I'm assuming you went V2. But let's take a closer look. But I mean, just straight off the bat, 19K liquidity, which is probably why you had a a big share of the a big share of the percentage because there's not that much liquidity in there, but there's not a lot of volume that's going through it. The volume is what gets you the yield. So, oh man, maybe if I click it, it's oh man, yeah, damn it, yeah. Give me 1 second here. No. All right. Yeah. But just based on this, there's not a lot of volume coming through there, which means your yield is going to be very low. And so I think then the yield is 7. So if it's 282, so what? So then you end up doing, I think it's 282 divided by. Someone shared the math with me, and I think okay. So that's 1.4%. Yeah, I think so. So that's 1.4% in a 24-hour period. So over 7 days, but then divided by whatever your percentage is. So if you've got a 10% stake, then 1.4 divided by 10. So you would have 0.14%. So it's not a very good one, to be perfectly honest. I wouldn't put it in there, but I can't really see much data here, obviously, which kind of is annoying. But yeah, it's not a good one. So remember what I was saying? Up and to the right tokens, low liquidity, but high volume. The volume is what gets you the yield. If there's no volume that's flowing through it, then there's no point. So like even all of these, so just for example, some of these, it's like, oh, cool. All right, these might be good. So I don't know. Let's just have a look at this one here. So Theta and Zoo. So that's 84K liquidity. And then copy and paste that pair address here. Oh man, see, I'm not getting the data because I'll click on it, but yeah, I'm not getting the data. That stinks. And then these ones, they don't even sometimes. Yeah, I mean, you look at this one. Well, that's theta, but okay, for like CROWS and Monay money, for example, like you don't even the it's so small, the volume that flows through them, because not a lot of trading is actually being done through there. Oh, that's not even showing. Maybe that was a V1. I need to do an updated, 65K liquidity on that one. It's a V1 anyway. So yeah, my PulseX is being a bit lame. So, all right. So yeah, I don't think that's a very good one, Matt. Just my opinion. So join our cult, where the only thing we worship more than our charismatic leader is the punchline of his latest dad joke sermon. We've traded in our toxic friends for a toxic-free lifestyle. Ah, dear, live, love, laugh. Ah, live, laugh, love. Oh, I always get that. I always get that wrong. Why? I'm staring at it in the face. Live, laugh, love. Yeah. Yeah. It's really the dad. Is that me? But my dad joke sermon? Yeah. Join the cult. Join the Atropa cult. You ever think your family called your dad is jealous because you're on YouTube talking about stuff he can't understand? No. This is the thing. I actually think he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart. I think he actually genuinely thinks that it's a problem and that my mind is polluted, but it's the total lack of respect for my perspective which gets to me, because he's had a friend who's got screwed over in cryptocurrency. We've all got friends like that. And so he's one friend that got screwed over in cryptocurrency. Now he's projecting his one friend on my reality. So just your tiny little fragment of a perspective, you're now going to project onto my reality with complete disregard and disrespect for the perspective that I'm trying to put forth. It's very arrogant. It's very it's just disrespectful and arrogant to think that your way is the right way. So in one way, it's like from the goodness of his heart, and in another way, it's just utter disregard for my perspective. Even when, like, I'm talking about meditation, he's like, "Oh, you've got yoga brain. You've got yoga brain," and I'm just like, "Bro, what are you even talking about? You don't even know the meditation that I do. You don't even know." He's never asked. He would just waffle on about the yoga that he does and the meditation that his friends have done and the gurus that he's spoken to and the family members that have told him this and that. I'm just like, bro. Like, you're not even letting any of my words sink into your mind. Like, you're not even listening. I'm literally just talking to a shell. It's not even, the words aren't even penetrating into your heart. It's really, it's frustrating, but I'm just staying open regardless. I'm going to stay accepting regardless. So yeah, one day he'll see the results and he'll realize that he was in fact wrong. I don't believe that I'm wrong. I could very well be wrong. And I've said it many, many times that I could very well be wrong. And I'm prepared to face those consequences. But I do not believe that I'm wrong. I believe that the Atropa ecosystem is probably the biggest revolution in all of cryptocurrency right now. I think it's actually going to, blow everybody's effing mind by the end of this bull run. I think there's nothing like it. There's literally nothing like it. So yeah, we'll see. We will see. So no worries, Hexologist Heart. So anyway, damn, there's 414. I think maybe people are joining to see the Richard Hart thing at the start. It was just a joke, fam. So yeah, it's always what do they call it? Bit of clickbait. You gotta do that in this game. So yeah, live, laugh, love, stay away from toxic people. It's because I have the same mind. That's why it happens. This is the thing. So if I have the mind that thinks that I'm right, I'm also going to attract people into my life that think that they are right. And then they're going to project that energy onto me. And because the words are meaningless, it's the frequency of the exchange where the real communication is happening. So he thinks he's right in his mind. I think I'm right in my mind. So then there's a clash. Our energies are not one because there's no fluidity there because we're really just one mind. But because he's clustered in his ideas of righteousness, I'm clustered in mine, then there's a clash. And it manifests in like a physical symptom in me. And so it's actually my fault. It's actually my fault that this happens because I haven't repented deeply enough for thinking that I'm right. If I truly let go of this idea that I'm right, then these things won't happen. And if they do happen, it'll just be like water off a duck's back, or rather, it'll just flow right through. But it doesn't. It gets caught in the web of my own false mind. And so it's actually my fault, which is probably the most frustrating part. So Richard Hart was the one. Yeah, Matt, you did. You sent me a different one. But yeah, there was. You sent me and then when I went into that thread, there was one of Richard Hart holding the flag at the top, which I thought was like super, super, super cool, super funny. So usually those people are exit liquidity on the top of the market, chasing occasion, but wrong timing. Normally, and hey, he might end up being the perfect top indicator because the people who FUD it and say it's wrong and occult, and if their minds start to slowly change and then they get into a buying mindset, that's a top. The people who are against, who switch, that's a top because it's like a 180 of the energy. The people who are neutral, like if they're neutral or they don't pay attention, they're like, okay, how do I buy crypto? Those people, that's not a top. That's like that's just like a that's like we're heading on the way. But the people who are like against it and then asking for a buy, that's a top. So I do water fast, Jesu. Why do you ask? I did one actually just last week. I did a 2-day water fast. That's a good amount of time for me. I like 2 days. I used to do I did a 10-day one once, but I ended up losing way too much muscle mass, so I didn't like it. I lost all my huge gains. But to be honest, yeah, I never really get that huge at the gym. I don't know what I've got to do. I've sort of plateaued a little bit. But yes, 2 days is a good time for me where I get the benefits of the water fast and the cleansing of the body, the autophagy, and the digestive reset. I really like it. And I don't lose too much muscle mass, or not much, because it's only 2 days. But 10 days was like that's way too bad. That was like, oh boy, I could really like see my muscles. But I said I've got to get 10 days, and I got to my 10 days, and I had so much energy, it was phenomenal. But I didn't like losing all the muscle mass. So thanks, Matt. Smash the like, 1 second of your time to pump all your bags. Exactly. 414 is here, so I have 414 viewers at the moment. So please tell us once that person will ask you what to buy. Don't worry. Don't worry, live, laugh, love. I'll let you all know. Don't worry about that. You think I'm lean? Oh, I appreciate that. I think maybe I hide it well. I've got a bit of belly fat, a bit of like flab that's been there for my whole life, which fluctuates up and down. But I think probably the shirts that I wear hide it well. So I've never done a watermelon fast. Jesu, tip. So how long are you doing a water fast for? One of the things that I learned is having the right kinds of distractions. So my very first water fast was, well, some of my first few water fasts were 3 days, 2 days right now. Okay, that's cool. So my first water fasts were during intensive meditation educations. So I had the distraction of the meditation. When I wasn't doing that, it was very difficult, because it was like, okay, well, I can't concentrate on work, or like just the idea of food, or I'd have a lot of negativity that was coming up because I'd be angry and like I'd want to eat food. So I really figured out that I actually have to like prepare myself quite well to actually distract my mind. And so I started playing video games, but then I was like, well, this is counterproductive. So I try to keep doing things that are productive, but they're not too difficult, because I don't know about you, but food is also, for me, when I get a stress response, I want to go to food for comfort. So doing really new work and difficult work is probably not something that I like to do on a water fast, because it's like a stress response, and stress is really just like new neural pathways forming in your mind. It's like, it's quite normal. Like you're trying to figure things out. It's like a stressful kind of response. But if it's too hard, then it's like, so I just try and like be productive, make sure I set my day up to be productive, to really take my mind off it. And then still go for walks, get out, touch grass. Like earthing or grounding is also very good while you're fasting. And drink a heap of water, heaps and heaps of water. So yeah, I find earthing to be really, really good. Getting out in nature, just going for a long walk, 1 or 2 hour walk. So, all right. No worries, Jesu. My pleasure. So many people watching. I feel like I really want to keep sharing content, but there's probably not too much to share today. So, yeah, not really much has happened, to be perfectly honest. So, actually, let's yeah, I think that's it really. I might just leave it at that. So, all right, thanks everyone for joining. Sorry that there's probably not too much entertaining stuff, but it's a quiet day today. So everybody take care of yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow.